Good evening, whakalahiatu, and welcome to tonight's bulletin of BCN News. Leading our news tonight, the option of cutting back further on government spending is still a consideration, with the prolonged impacts of COVID-19 affecting government revenue. I asked Premier Tagilangi last week what the outlook is financially for the government.
We know we derive our revenues from tourism and the taxes on the border and all other things, the airspace. We do get a little bit of support from from the fishing, the US Treaty and all that, but all those are now sort of like on hold. So that means that we're not going to make. So that's why it's important that we cut back on our expenditure. But saying that, and I will say it again and again for our own people, for your understanding, that 75% of the budget is paid to us. Public servants, everyone across the board, and even our pensions, and others. So, and the others only 25%. If we cut that 25%, meaning that we're not going to do anything on the roads or in trying to save. So, it's common sense that everyone should understand that. It's either that we're going to all cut back, cut our wages back, and try and support the operational side of things in the economy, and we should be okay. But we're not looking at that at the moment. We're looking at other avenues of how we can do that work. But like everything else, if it continues, that we'll be looking at it.
Meanwhile, two Common Role members, Olaf Jacobson and Terry Coe, are very concerned at Cabinet's decision to allow home quarantine and also to increase the number of incoming passengers to 30. Olaf Jacobson, who is currently in Auckland, in her statement to BCN News, said that the decision to allow for home quarantine is unprofessional and most irresponsible. Terry Coe shares these concerns, telling BCN News that Cabinet should bring these discussions to the Whanokepule and allow the elected members of the Assembly to discuss. Coe does not agree that there should be an increase in the number of passengers allowed into Niue. Jacobson is also very concerned about the Health Department's capacity to conduct COVID-19 testing. BCN News understands that the health and police officials have already conducted the checks on 3 properties for the passengers who applied for home quarantine on next week's flight. Last week, Premier Tagilangi said that Cabinet's decision to increase the number of passengers is in response to the demand from families to return to Niue for the festive season. There will be 2 bills to be introduced to the Whanokepule this week: the Anti-Personnel Mines and Cluster Munitions Bill and the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons Bill. Niue acceded to the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons on the 6th of August this year. The treaty establishes a comprehensive ban on the weapons of mass destruction and aims to help pave the way to their elimination. Niue joins 11 other Pacific nations who have ratified the treaty. Both bills are expected to be referred to the Bills Committee. The Whanokepule will be held on Wednesday this week. The saga with the quarantine breach, or the alleged quarantine breach, continues. The police have released the security footage from the government's quarantine facility at Home Ofisi in Tamokotonga to assure the community that there was no breach of the quarantine facility. The footage, dated Tuesday 3rd of November, shows 4 men from within the perimeter fencing. 2 of the men are standing and 2 are sitting down. On the other side of the fence is one man wearing high-vis vest seated, and he is seen having a conversation or in conversation with the 4 men within the fence. In between the men are 2 fences, according to the police. The first fence is 3 meters away from the outside fence. The men are seen in conversation until the 2 men standing inside the fence leave. At 6 minutes to 7 o'clock in the evening, the 2 men sitting down walked away, and the 1 man on the outside of the fence left at the same time. The Chief of Police, Timothy Wilson, told BCN News that after their investigation last week, they found that there was no breach of quarantine, as alluded to by a local and posted on Facebook. According to the chief, they conducted a thorough investigation and spoke to all witnesses, including the person who posted his suspicions on Facebook. BCN understands from the police that the individual was driving past the facility and reportedly posted on Facebook, alluding to a breach, prompting other Facebook users to contact the police. After BCN broke the story on Thursday last week, the individual posted again on Facebook saying that he was not satisfied with the police investigation and that he stood by what he saw. The police then issued a second press release on Friday afternoon stating that they believe in transparency and understand that many may be concerned about this. The police wish to build public trust and faith in their work. And the Niue High School last week received 30 reconditioned Lenovo laptops from the Ikimotu family of Auckland through the help of Carl Godsmark. I spoke to Carl earlier today about this donation of computers for Niue High School.
The Ikimotu family came in October 2019 for a family visit, and then they were sort of interested in what sort of resources that the island could help with. And my nephew, Emil Drullet, is an IT technician in New Zealand. So he went back, did a bit of sourcing for some laptops that could be gifted, that were used and not used anymore by businesses. So he sourced them, rebooted them, and then gifted the laptops to the college. And I was liaison between New Zealand and Niue to ask for the freight, talking to Charles Ione, the principal, to say that the laptops will be on their way. So there was sponsorship from Shop Exports and myself with organising the freight.
Niue High School posted their appreciation of the donation of the laptops on their Facebook page over the weekend, saying that they are honoured and privileged to have the support of the community as always.
There was an opportunity to whether they were going to be gifted to the college. They would have been useful as a resource somewhere. So they just decided that they wanted to gift them potentially to the school, whether it be college or primary or intermediate. But because of the design of the laptop, they were better suited for the college students. So we opted to go that way. Spoke to Charles, he was very, very happy about the donation and he was looking forward to them arriving in Niue.
According to the school, the laptops will be used by the students in classes for their academic work and is much appreciated in this day and age where digital technology is a major focus in the school.
I'm just so happy that the kids can get some sort of enjoyment out of the gifted laptops, and I hope that they will use them and help them with their education and hopefully for the future.
That's lovely. Good on you, Ikimotu and Godsmark family, for your community spirit and also your generous donation for the school. And that's your news for tonight. I'll be back with you on Thursday evening. Until then, good night.